Hey guys, just quickly bringing you another video. I've been waiting to do this one for a while. I recently ordered an inexpensive vintage piece from an eBay seller I've been following for a while now. I'm wearing it right now. I'm not going to show you too closely what it is. This is a seller who TGV from the Urban Gentry channel posted a listing from a few weeks back. And because I'd been following this person's store for a long time without buying anything, that was the motivation. I needed to pick up an inexpensive piece, and I promised a few of the members of the UGWC on Facebook that I would do a review and share my thoughts. So here I am. It's Thanksgiving break. I don't have to teach for the rest of the week. What better time to get to know a brand new watch and make a video for you guys? Anyway, I don't want to waste time. Without further ado, let's go into the unboxing. Alright guys, here's the package. As you can see, it came from Rui in Portugal. He's the gentleman I was dealing with through eBay, and from what I can tell, not only is he the one obviously selling and packaging the watches, I believe he's the watchmaker as well, who's been servicing all of these vintage watches on his store, which we'll go through at the end of the video and do some window shopping. There's some really cool pieces, many of which are very affordable, and if this turns out well, I would suggest that any of you looking for some cool wildcard watches or some interesting vintage value propositions, check out his store. Very easy to deal with. Also worth noting, I guess, that any of you who shop on eBay will know that they usually give you a range of dates to expect your delivery, and obviously the farther away it's coming from, the larger the range is. Even though this came all the way from Portugal to New Jersey, it came on the first day of the window, so very quick shipping, which I appreciated. Now I'm going to try to get into it, and I'll spare you too much talking. I'll do a full review on this watch once I have time to wear it a little bit and do some research, but for now this will just be an unboxing and some first impressions. I'm using my little Sanremo knife here. Try not to destroy anything. This is so tightly taped. Also, you can see in the back here, vintage watch. So it appears to just be a simple cardboard box of some kind that's been taped over with tons of padding inside for the watch. This is very good packaging so far for an inexpensive watch. This is only $65 plus shipping. And a lot of times you buy watches at that price point, they're very, very cheaply packaged in an envelope. So he really goes to great lengths to make sure your watch is protected, which I appreciate. Tons of foam here, making a mess in my kitchen. Looks like he includes a little invoice. I've covered up my name and address here. Watches to Watch is the name of his eBay store. And then you get this packing slip from eBay. It's a Delta French vintage watch, which I paid $65 for on November 10th, and $12.80 for shipping from Portugal to New Jersey, for a total of $77.80, or about the price of your everyday entry-level Seiko 5. can see here, he also has the watch marked. Probably he does this so he can keep track of all the watches he's shipping out. This is the Delta, I believe it's Super is the model. Pretty obscure watch. I mean, it's not one that I'm familiar with, but that's where a lot of the really cool values are in vintage, if you don't have much of a budget to work with. There's just so many watch companies out there that didn't succeed or were never famous or were never a luxury item back in the day, that now are so much more affordable. I'm going to pause this and open it more quickly. Get all the plastic and bubble wrap off. As you can see, he's really doing a lot of work to safely package these watches, even if they're not expensive watches, which again is more than you can say for most people, most sellers. You see the strap peeking out, nice leather strap. And finally, we have the watch itself. Let's see how close I can get. Oh man, that is super cool. Sorry the lighting is so bad today. It's kind of dark outside even though it's midday. So there's a lot of warm incandescent lighting in the room right now that is screwing up the visual. But you can see it has this really sort of luscious dark navy sunburst effect dial. These really vintage retro numerals. Reminds me a little bit of the original Oris Diver 65. Or well, I guess it wasn't called, the original wasn't called that. It reminds me of the reissued Diver 65, but the original watch of that. And you can see there's a sub-seconds hand, which I find really attractive, personally. Just a nice change of pace, and a date in a framed window, and then this sort of interesting cushion case. Delta. In the back, you can see that it says stainless steel back, anti-magnetic. This is not an original strap. I think these are just straps that Rui gets from Portugal, leather straps, and puts on the watches that he is repairing. I'll probably change it. It's an okay strap. It's not super cheap, but I personally think that this watch will look great on a sporty, preppy NATO. So this is a French watch with a French movement, hand wound. Let's see. That's not the winding. It winds in the normal position then, as you can see here. That second hand is moving now. The wind feels pretty much like any other vintage watch that I've had, although none of the vintage watches I've bought have been recently serviced as far as I know. And so the winding has been a little grindy and kind of sandy feeling. Rui is a watchmaker and services all these watches that he sells himself. And I will say that whether it's this new movement, which I've never experienced before, or just the recent service and oiling and lubrication of the movement, it winds very, very cleanly and sounds really nice for a roughly 50-year-old watch. Let's see, what time is it? Wearing my favorite day off watch. It's Wednesday the 23rd. And it is almost 1:15. I'm just going to set the time for now, deal with the date later since it's a few days too far ahead. I don't have calipers to show you guys the size of this watch, but he had it listed, I believe, as either 37 or 38 millimeters in diameter. I guess diameter is the wrong word since it's not a circle, but across, and 44 tip to tip, which is a perfect size for me. You can see it has a domed crystal. Really no scratches that I can see through my camera, which I imagine means he's replaced it, but I don't know for sure. It might just be in really, really excellent shape. In his listings, he'll tell you whether things have been replaced or whether they're original. I just don't remember, but you can always check. Let me try it on this strap, and then I'm going to pause for a little while, change it, and then come back on the strap that I have picked out for it. But first, so here's the watch on my wrist. I have really tiny wrists, as some of you will know. I mean, just as a comparison point, this is the 41.5 millimeter Orient Mako USA. So this is a small watch. It just looks a little large on my tiny little wrists. But that's why I liked it. For me, usually, square and cushion style watches just don't fit because I'm too little. But this vintage size made it work for me. I don't know how much you can tell, but there's a ton of depth to this dial for such an inexpensive watch. All of the indices are applied and significantly raised, as are the numerals, which, when combined with that sort of sunburst reflective dark blue and the sub-seconds hand, make it a really visually interesting, sort of complicated looking watch for the price. I'm really impressed. Anyway, I'm going to pause for a little while. I'll be back with a new strap and some further thoughts before we go window shopping. Hey guys, bear with me. I'm sitting in the windowsill. I changed the strap, as you can see, to this NATO. And I just wanted to give you guys a view of the watch in better, more natural light, because I felt like the earlier part of the video wasn't doing justice to how gorgeous this piece is, especially for its price. I've put it on this blue and tan crown and buckle NATO. Honestly, I think because of this gorgeous dial, this watch might look better once I find the perfect leather strap for it, but right now it's going to be a casual wear for me, so the NATO is fine, and I think it matches really well. I just kind of feel like the case shape, lends itself better to a dressy leather strap. Let me know what you think. Do you like it on the NATO? Would you prefer it on leather? Anyway, I wanted to give you a couple of views in this better light. You can see when I turn it sideways like this, just a ton of depth to the dial. One thing I do find weird is that there's not an even number of minute markers between the different hours, which strikes me as rather unusual because the numerals are so much larger than the indices that they have to cut off some of the markers. But you can kind of do it by your eyesight and figure it out and get it close. You can see it's a small watch. It fits my wrist just fine. It would be comparable to a Seiko 5. It's just that the case shape makes it look a lot bigger and it gives it more presence on the wrist. Because it's hand wound, it's very thin, which I quite like, even with that big domed crystal. It's alright. I think it has a really, really attractive profile on the wrist. I don't know, it's in great condition for its age. There's a couple little things on the dial. I don't know if you can see down by the 6. There's a little gouge out of the blue. And the minute hand has a little patina and wear on it. This is a watch from the 60s. I think it's just in incredible shape, considering how old it is. It must have just been hiding in a drawer for half of its lifetime. I don't know, I'm really, really pleased with this, if you guys couldn't tell. It's hard for me to imagine getting a much cooler watch for $65. When you think about it, this is pretty much the same price you'd pay for one of the really entry-level Seiko 5s, like the S&K series, the 809, 807, those watches. Most of the Seiko 5 dress watches cost more than I paid for this. They typically are in the $85 range. It's just incredible value. And I think those of you who are collecting on a budget and want some cool pieces with a lot of character, you're missing out if you're only shopping either new or with more obvious prestigious brands, because there's so many cool watches in the world. And if you are on a budget, you can find some stuff like this really cheap and really flesh out your collection and have something unique that you're not going to see on anyone else's wrist. Yeah, really, really happy with this. One of these days I'll find the perfect leather strap for it, since winter anyway, so I can wear it in a dressier setting. But for now, wearing it like this, it's casual bumming around, really, really pleased. Let me know what you think. I'm going to change views now again and go to some little eBay window shopping. I want to show you guys this seller's store on eBay. He was a pleasure to deal with, very communicative, fast shipping, as you can see from before, carefully packaged. And he has a lot of really cool, affordable vintage watches that he serviced himself and is selling for what I think are very fair prices for the most part. So let's go take a look together and see what you could add to your collection. This is the store I bought this watch from on eBay. The seller's name is RC0000-PT. His store is named Watches to Watch. You can see, I'm already on the right page, but I'll click it again. His feedback is superb. He's been a member for over 4 years and has 100% positive feedback. You can go to some of it in the last month. This is my feedback, actually. I thought he did a great job. I'm very happy with what I received. But you can see that pretty much everyone else has had similar feedback. This person bought an 18-karat solid gold Zenith. Was very, very happy. Rui is very kind and replied. People commenting on the great packaging, the fast shipping, accurate description, good condition. He just does a really great job. It's a very good store, and I would highly, highly recommend any of you buy from him, provided that you do your research, of course, as you should with any vintage watch purchase. Yeah, he is servicing them. There may be watches where you want to make sure you're okay getting some kind of restoration or non-original part, but it seems like he's pretty good about giving you a heads up about that in the description. Anyway, let's look at some of the stuff he has for sale right now. There's been a lot of stuff I've looked at a bunch of times in his store. I finally pulled the trigger on this watch because it was inexpensive and just seemed so unique. Let's see. It's got a lot of obscure brands, the smaller Swiss brands, some small German brands, some small French brands, which again are just great, great value props if you're looking for something cool, unique, well made, with a lot of character, but at a fairly low price. It's got this Omega Seamaster. Looks to me like a very, very aged dial on it, unless it's supposed to be that color. Oh, no. Ignore me. With this sort of gold dial, that doesn't really do it for me, to be honest. Let's see what else. He's got this Tissot Seastar. This is a cool looking watch for someone who wants something sort of, industrial looking, different. This watch, I've almost bought this watch like 5 times. It's another French watch, much like the one I just bought and just showed you, this time in a diving style. I can't find any information about this, whether you could actually take it diving or not. I kind of doubt it. But diving style watch, working diving bezel, and this really cool patina dial. Oops. You can see all the age on the dial. It looks really, really cool to me. Interesting indices, unique looking hands. It has kind of a seconds tracker on the outside that reminds me a little bit of the Michael Schumacher Speedmaster, although not with the red, but just in the same color as the dial. And this very unique square cushion case shape. I happen to know from looking before, this is a 38mm watch, which It's such a great find for smaller wristed people like me who like the diving style and want a sort of masculine style watch but can't wear something big. See, 38 by 44 millimeters. That would look great on a smaller wrist. Someone buy this. I can't believe no one's bought it yet. It's been relisted like 4 times. I think that's an incredibly cool watch. If it keeps getting relisted, I will eventually end up buying it because, I don't know, for $65, could you do better than that? I mean, you could enjoy it for a few months. You could sell it on. If you wanted to, you could gift it to somebody. Just such a cool watch. I don't know. You can keep buying your Seiko 5s, which I love, but you could spend the same and get something really special and unique. It's amazing to me people aren't jumping on that kind of thing. Certina. I don't remember which one TGV posted. I don't think it was that one. Yeah, he even has like little plastic Casios for people who want something super cheap. Here's another cushion case with a gold tone, kind of a funky dial. He's always got some pocket watches. There's a quartz chronograph. German watch. Oh man, that's pretty. Longine's pocket watch. Looks to me like this has probably been restored. I can't imagine it would be in that good of condition after however long it's been, but it's really, really attractive. I mean, for $275, that's pretty cool. I've also looked at this a bunch of times. You can see that I'm watching it right now. The Zenith Sporto for $385. I believe this is pretty small. It's like 34, 35 millimeters. The only issue is you can see that there's some spotting on the dial. I don't know how well it's coming through in my camera. But just a really cool watch. A very similar case shape to the one I just showed you, just a little higher end from a famous company. Great way to get a Zenith in your collection, though. So Omega pocket watch. Tag Heuer. That didn't really do it for me personally, but you know, to each their own. A very simple vintage Swiss watch. Never heard of that movement. Let me know if you know anything about it. But a great way to add a vintage Swiss piece to your collection for very little money. This one is about to end. I don't want to spend $120 on it right now, or I might have considered picking it up myself. If no one buys it in the next 21 hours, he will relist it. But come on, guys. $120 for vintage Young Hands in great shape. How has someone not bought that? That's crazy to me. I dare someone to pick this up, give it some love, put it on a strap that you really like, and make a video of it and send it to me, and leave it as a comment, post it to the Urban Gentry Facebook group. Someone needs to buy this. Look at those lugs. What a gorgeous watch for $120. You could own a vintage Young Hands dress watch for the same price as an entry-level Orient dress watch. This is the same cost as the Bambino. The Bambino is great, but to me, this offers so much more character. Someone buy that, please. Some other interesting vintage watches. Here's another vintage Omega. His prices seem very fair to me. I'm not an expert on the vintage market, especially these obscure brands. Let me know what you think. Another Tissot. More Tissots. Seiko 5. Raymond Weil. I think he spelled it wrong actually, but this reminds me a lot of some of the Cartier designs. Was it the Diavolo? Something like that. Very similar. Kind of aggressive, intense, but really classic styled dress watch. Interesting looking. Another Casio for $10. Here's a French sort of tank style watch. That's pretty cool. Another Seiko 5. Another pocket watch. Vintage Vostok. That's a strange looking watch. Not really my taste, but if you want something that's a real wild card, maybe it's for you. Another Certina. He usually has 2 or 3 pages, depending on when you look. I'm going to go to the second page now. This has been up for a long time.
vintage Swiss dress watch for $65. Like, come on, someone should buy that. A Spanish watch. A desk clock. That's kind of cool looking. Okay, again, sorry for the striping here on the screen. Some more French and Swiss watches. Travel alarm clock, very cool. Another Vostok. Ooh, sorry. Yeah, so anyway, there's a look at his store. New stuff is constantly being added. Stuff is being relisted if it doesn't sell. From my experience with this watch that I'm wearing now, he's a great seller, honest, does a good job servicing the watches, keeps them in good condition, packages them beautifully, ships them fast. You're missing out if you're not at least looking at some of these really inexpensive, cool vintage watches. It's a great way to add some character and uniqueness to your collection. Anyway, that's all from me today. Sorry about the bad lighting again, but I'll talk to you guys later. I'll be back with a review of this watch after I've worn it for a while, with some more information about the movement inside. Until then, enjoy your Thanksgivings if you're in America. Enjoy your weekend if you're anywhere else. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.